Another guy who people hold the playoff resume against him. One, Carmelo Anthony.
Number 49, Carmelo Anthony.
So, Carmelo Anthony and Bernard King, it's a very interesting dichotomy here because, and I'll go through Carmelo's accolades in a moment, I think Bernard King's peak was higher, but Carmelo was close to him peak-wise and did it so much longer. He is 9th on the NBA's all-time scoring list. That's got to matter. Now, he doesn't have any all-NBA first teams, but he has 2 second teams and 4 third teams. He also won a scoring title, was a one-time scoring champ, and he finished 3rd in the MVP voting 1 year. Now, as far as the postseason goes, famously never made a finals. However, he was the best player on a conference finalist. That, again, that doesn't do much for you, but it's something. And in that conference finals against Kobe, this is back when he was with Denver, he's 28-5-4. He's 28-5-4 in those conference finals. And in the playoffs from that year, from 2009 to 2013, he was 28 a game. So you have the fact that he is top 10 all-time scoring in NBA history. He's a guy who, though I would say in the best team he was on, they did exactly what they should have done in the postseason. They got as far as they should have gotten. They didn't underachieve. They were 2-2 with the Lakers. And if you remember, I don't know if you do, that game 5 against the Lakers is tied going into the fourth quarter. Carmelo was excellent in that game 5, actually outplayed Kobe in that game 5, but they ended up losing the fourth quarter by 9 points, I think. And so they end up losing that game and they lose game 6. That's a great what if. What if Carmelo had carried that Nuggets team to the finals? Not only what if for his legacy, but also does he then stay with Denver? Because the other part that killed Melo, and I know this has been brought up a lot, but it warrants mentioning, he wanted to get to New York very badly. That's fine. But he also wanted all his money. So instead of waiting a year and signing with the Knicks outright, he forced it there early. The Knicks then have to trade all those pieces to get him, which then undercuts his ability to win with them. But when he did get to New York, the best team he was on with New York, they again got as far as they should have gotten in the playoffs. They get to round 2, and who do they lose to? LeBron and the Heat. It's not like there were a bunch of years Carmelo was on the better team and fell short. I do think that happened with a guy like Tracy McGrady, who we just mentioned. I also think this final act of Carmelo's career is a valuable one after he was essentially kicked out of the league. Nobody wanted that he wouldn't come off the bench. He didn't work in Houston. What he was able to do for Portland, what he's been able to do for the Lakers is an important minor legacy enhancer, probably just enough not only to get him into the top 10 all-time in scoring, but to push him ahead of a guy like Bernard King. So the 2 greatest Knicks scorers ever, Bernard King and Carmelo Anthony, come in 50 and 49. I think we have a caller that wants to ask about Carmelo.
Hey, Pops, it's Devontae, live from the house. I've got a question for you. You say the playoffs matter in this whole ranker thing. Melo's only made it past the first round 2 times in his entire career. Please tell me how it is that he got here. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
So I think that, again, I don't look at Carmelo as a playoff failure. I understand he didn't have much playoff success, but if you go through the actual, and I'm going to pull it up for you guys right now, if you go through the career playoff series, like what is the series Carmelo lost that you're like, oh man, you had no business losing that? If we're not going to talk about very early in his career. So in 2008 with Denver, or you go to 2007 with Denver, they lose to the Spurs. The Spurs won the title that year. 2008 with Denver, they lose to the Lakers. All right, well, the Lakers went to the finals that year. The next year with Denver is the year that you lose to the Lakers in the conference finals. And I'm going to go a little overtime here, defending my guy Melo, who, yes, listen, he is a Syracuse guy, and he did deliver us a championship, but still 9th all-time leading scorer. The next year in Denver, they lose to Utah in 6. Okay, I guess you can argue that year, maybe they should have won that series. But then when he goes to the Knicks, who do they lose to? They lose to the Celtics, big 3. That's the better team. They lose to the Heat. That's the better team. They then lose to the Celtics again. That's the better team. 2013, they lose in round 2 to the Pacers. okay, yeah, maybe you win that series, but that Paul George, Roy Hibbert team was good. That team took LeBron and the Heat to 7. And then after that, it's with OKC. OKC, we're going to hold that one against him? No, he's a different player. So I don't look at yes, you would like to have a better playoff resume, but if you have a better playoff resume and you're top 10 all time in scoring, you're higher than 49th. Carmelo Anthony, the 49th greatest player of all time. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.